During World War II, much of South America remained officially neutral or only marginally involved in the conflict, a stance that set the continent apart from the intense global combat occurring across Europe, Asia, and Africa. This widespread neutrality was shaped by a combination of geographic, political, economic, and social factors. Understanding why South American countries mostly stayed out of direct involvement in World War II reveals the complexity of international relations and regional priorities in the mid-20th century. Geographic distance and strategic calculations. One of the most straightforward reasons for South America's neutrality was its geographic distance from the main theaters of war. The Atlantic and Pacific Oceans provided a natural buffer, reducing immediate threats from Axis or Allied military operations. This distance allowed many South American countries to focus on internal development without the direct devastation experienced elsewhere. Nevertheless, the continent's coastal access to the Atlantic made it strategically important for naval patrols and supply routes, prompting some Allied interest in the region. Political and economic considerations. South American nations were cautious in choosing sides due to their diverse political landscapes and economic interests. Many governments preferred neutrality to avoid entanglement in a costly and distant war. Trade relationships with both Axis and Allied powers complicated political decisions. For example, Germany was a major trading partner for raw materials, while the U.S. was a key economic influence. Political instability and authoritarian regimes in countries like Argentina, Brazil, and Chile made declarations of war politically sensitive. Influence of the United States and the good neighbor policy. The United States exerted significant diplomatic pressure to secure cooperation and prevent Axis influence in the Western Hemisphere. President Franklin D. Roosevelt's good neighbor policy aimed to foster friendly relations and discourage interventionism. The U.S. encouraged South American countries to support hemispheric defense initiatives and cut ties with Axis powers. While many nations maintained formal neutrality early in the war, most gradually aligned with the Allies by severing diplomatic relations with Germany, Italy, and Japan. Internal divisions and public opinion. South American societies were often divided in their sympathies. Some segments, especially among German and Italian immigrant communities, favored the Axis powers. Others supported the Allies, inspired by democratic ideals or economic ties to the U.S. and Britain. Governments had to balance these internal pressures to maintain national cohesion. Exceptions and active participation. Although the majority stayed neutral, a few South American countries eventually took active roles. Brazil declared war on the Axis in 1942 and sent troops to fight in the Italian campaign. Other nations provided logistical support, allowed Allied bases on their soil, or participated in intelligence sharing. These contributions, while limited compared to major powers, were significant in the broader Allied strategy. Post-war consequences. The neutrality of most South American countries shaped their post-war trajectories. The war accelerated industrialization and economic diversification in the region. Many countries increased political cooperation with the United States during the Cold War. The experience also fueled nationalist movements and debates over sovereignty and foreign influence. South America's mostly neutral stance during World War II was the result of careful calculation amid a complex web of geography, politics, and economics. While avoiding the devastation of direct combat, the continent nonetheless played a subtle, yet important role in the global conflict, balancing external pressures and internal dynamics. This neutrality helped shape South America's mid-20th century development and its place in the post-war world order.